Welcome to CEC online lecture. I am Dr. Parveen Sharma. In this session, I will be speaking to you on principles of curriculum construction. Curriculum is the central point around which entire educational process moves and organized. It has to be a planned process. Curriculum is constructed and developed to fulfill the set objectives for teaching a particular subject. When we know that a child is sent to school to gain knowledge, to study various subjects and for all round development personality of a child, so we believe and we hope that the curriculum should be planned. The principles cannot be very rigid because needs, conditions and expectation of the individual and society have to be seen, because we see that when we have various educational objectives and we want that a child should come up to those objectives and goals and should gain knowledge. So, we have to decide some principles of curriculum construction, but they cannot be very rigid because there are some individual differences, and some factors also influence the curriculum planning and curriculum construction and curriculum development. So, before we come to curriculum construction, its principles, before those principles we have to discuss what are the factors which affect curriculum. Our education system, aims of education, examination system, form of government and National Education Commission and committees and social change and various other factors, they influence the curriculum. So, when we plan the curriculum, construct the curriculum and develop the curriculum, we have to fix some principles, but we have to see what are those factors which influence that curriculum construction and principles of curriculum construction. First of all, I would like to discuss with you about the education system. From time to time, as the changes occur in education system, curriculum also get affected, because as the conditions in the society prevail, education system will change and accordingly the curriculum will be reflected. So, all the social forces, they reflect the curriculum and the curriculum influence the social forces, because social forces, they determine the social agenda of education. So, this way both the changes in the society and the curriculum, they affect each other. So, as the changes come in the society, education system changes and curriculum also get affected. And if we discuss about the aims of education, if we compare from past, in Vedic period, study of spiritual growth was considered aim of education, but these days all round development is focused. So, curriculum is always influenced by aims of education. When we used to live in Vedic period, the spiritual growth or the reading of those scriptures was considered important, and as the time changes, the system or the aims of education underwent the changes, and so the changes occurred in the curriculum. And examination system, as earlier it was, the education system was teacher oriented, these days it has turned into child centered, student oriented. So, examination system also has undergone changes, like the type of test, subjective or objective, it will be decided by the curriculum, because we have to see before conducting the examination system or before planning the question paper, we have to see what is our target group and what is our agenda, what we want to test. So, on the basis of that, we will decide whether to keep subjective questions or objective type questions. Then the form of government, it also affects the curriculum. If it is democratic, then curriculum will focus on the development of values like justice, equality and brotherhood. As we are living in a democratic country, so it is, as a teacher or as teacher educator, it is our duty to teach the children in the classes, in the school or in day-to-day activities, that the values like justice and equality and brotherhood and honesty type of activity or the traits should be inculcated in the children. Then National Education Commission and committees, like if I talk about 1948-49 University Education Commission, in 1952 Secondary Education Commission, and in 64-66 Kothari Education Commission, have given their recommendation which have influenced the curriculum. And recently in 2020 also, new education policy has evolved, which surely is going to influence the curriculum. These days everyone wants to know, everyone where the talk about education, new education policy is going on, and we hope that surely it is going to influence the curriculum. Then social changes, when social changes occur in the society, the curriculum also reflect those social changes. When there occurs changes like related to science and technology, it definitely influences the curriculum. And some more changes or some more factors like values, social traditions, future needs of children, etc. These factors also influence the curriculum. After knowing the factors which influence the curriculum, I would like to discuss with you the principles of curriculum. First principle, though they are not very rigid, but the first principle is the principle of child-centeredness. It means in framing the curriculum, we must take care of many factors like for whom the curriculum is being prepared. We have to see their age factor, abilities, capacities, interest of the children and previous knowledge what they have already gained. So, first principle is the child-centeredness, because curriculum is meant for children. It must fulfill their needs and abilities. Curriculum should be constructed in a manner that it can be classified in different streams as per the interest of the students. And the second principle is principle of integration. Curriculum should be helpful in making balance between person and environment, because if the adjustment or the balance between the person and environment is not balanced, then the aims of education will not be fulfilled. So, it has to be maintained, it has to be integrated. The subject matter of the various subjects should be of such type that it can be developed on the basis of each other, and it should be interrelated, meaning by if we have taught one aspect to the children in one subject, when in another subject or in the same subject we start somewhat related topic, they should be able to interrelate that kind of knowledge with the previous one, that it will be helpful. So, principle of integration while constructing the curriculum is very important. For effective learning, it becomes essential that while developing curriculum, it must be kept in mind that subject matter of all the subjects can be prepared on the basis of each other. Next, we discuss with you the principle of correlation. knowledge is total unit and cannot be divided in parts, because for easiness or per interest and needs of the children, we just give them choice, but it is a total unit and it cannot be divided. If we talk about time factor and utility, then this principle is helpful. Psychologically also, on the basis of the principle of integrity, the curriculum should be constructed, because the children should be able to correlate one aspect with the another aspect. Then principle of keeping aims and objectives in view, because all the process of education is for acquiring the aims and objectives on the part of children. We have set some aims and objectives, and we expect that our children, our students should attain those aims and objectives. So changes and needs of the society influence the aims and objectives of education. As there occur some changes in the society, needs of the society underwent change, and very well we are aware that these days lifestyle of everyone has gone under change due to global change. So needs of the society also have gone change. Definitely the curriculum will be changed, will be affected, because curriculum helps in realizing the aims of education. If we want to teach many skills, values, attitudes, and to provide knowledge to our children, this is possible through curriculum, because right now I spoke to you that we are going under changes, we are facing many problems these days. So we have to teach our children how to develop those skills and values to tackle the problems and to change the attitude and to learn how to make balance with the environment, and we have to provide such kind of knowledge to our children. So how it is possible? This will be possible through curriculum only. Then we talk about principle of flexibility. In the very beginning I spoke to you, of course we are talking about principles of curriculum construction, but they cannot be very rigid, because curriculum is meant for children and children are not meant for curriculum. So always there should be flexibility, because only in a flexible curriculum the needs, attitude and individual differences of the children can be taken care of, because it is our utmost effort and desire that the needs of the children should be fulfilled and their personality should be developed from all round, maybe physically, socially, emotionally, academically. So all aspects should be taken care of. As the needs of the society changes, there occurs the changes in values and goals of education. Of course, there are some eternal values. I will be speaking to you later on about these values. But right now, there occurs changes in values and goals of education, social conditions and methods of teaching. As the changes occur in this society, method of teaching also goes under change. Flexibility in curriculum is essentially. We know these days most of the classes in schools and colleges are going online. So it means curriculum gets reflected in selecting the methods of teaching. So this is the principle of flexibility, that the way we used to teach our children in school and colleges have undergone change. So there should be flexibility. This is what I mean by principle of flexibility. Because if we are rigid in our approach in selecting teaching styles or methods, then we cannot teach our children how to update knowledge and keep pace with the changes and needs of society. So it should be flexible. If we want that our children should learn adjustment and their approach should be flexible. So first of all, we as a teachers, we as a parents, we as a teacher educators have to be flexible in our approach so that we can teach our children how to make adjustment and how to adopt the flexible approach, so that the growth of individual and growth of society both are possible. Then next is the principle of community centeredness. Curriculum should focus on making the child a civilized citizen. Society determine the aims of education, and aims of education determines the curriculum, meaning by both influence each other. So, it is desirable that while deciding the curriculum, the traditions of community, needs and values should be kept in mind. Then principle of creativity. All children have creativity in some form or the other. While constructing curriculum, it should be kept in mind that children get the opportunity of expressing their creativity, because some students are good in sports, others are good in music, or some are good in mathematics. So, such kind of opportunity should be given to them so that they get the opportunity to express their creativity. It will help in the development of their personality, because we are talking about all round development of the personality. Then developing ideals and loyalties. Curriculum should be constructed in such a manner that it inculcates in child the habits of loyalties towards family, school, community, state, country and the world also. Children must learn the value of unity in diversity. Then further is the principle of conservation of culture. Yes, conservation of culture and its transmission is an important aim of education among other aims of education. We come to get some changes out of the interaction of human being and environment. We call it culture. Curriculum should preserve and transfer the culture. Then studying current affairs. It is essential that children have analytical knowledge to differentiate between truth and false. They must be aware about the happenings around the world. So, the curriculum should be constructed in a manner to update the knowledge of children about current affairs. Then principle of forward looking. Ultimately, the children have to step into the real life after schooling. The curriculum should prepare them to face the real life problems. Their outlook should be future oriented. Then principle of useful experiences. Experience is the best teacher. All the useful experiences should be included in curriculum, because real education is reorganization and reconstruction of human experiences. Then principle of interest. If the curriculum construction is on the basis of interest of the children, then they learn with zeal and passion, which brings good result. Then principle of environment centeredness. Curriculum should prepare the children to deal with the problems and events of environment. The subject matter should help the children to understand the physical, social, political and economic conditions. Then further we talk about principle of utility. Such experiences and subject matter should be included in curriculum which is practically useful, like how to manage time, to understand and respect society and culture. Then principle of readiness. Maturity or age level is an important factor to be kept in mind while constructing curriculum. So, it is to be seen whether the child is ready to learn particular matter or not, so that child does not feel pressurized. Then some principles are suggested by Secondary Education Commission in 1952. They are principle of experience, differentiation and elasticity, and related to community, use of leisure time, related to life and according to needs of society. Now, I will discuss with you the types of curriculum. First is the subject centered. It was started in Greece and Rome. In it, more importance is given to books instead of children. Here, knowledge related to different subject is divided and accordingly books are prepared. Teachers teach the content and children are supposed to acquire the same. Then experience centered curriculum. In this type of curriculum, the focus is on experiences. It has psychological approach as it is related with interest, abilities and experiences of the children. It also helps in the cognitive and creative abilities of the children. Then child centered curriculum. Here the curriculum is constructed according to various developmental stages of children, their tendencies, needs and capacities. It enhances learning process. Moreover, this type of curriculum keeps the child active. Then activity centered curriculum. John Dewey advocated for this type of curriculum in which activity is focused. He opined that children should be educated in a way so that the activities learnt should help them in future life. Such type of curriculum helps in physical and mental development of children. Then correlated curriculum. Here all knowledge is given as a unit. Suppose one topic is covered in two subjects, then it is given once only so that it saves time. Moreover, this way knowledge becomes stable. Then core curriculum, where compulsory and others are optional, which child selects according to his or her interest and capabilities. Then craft centered curriculum, then vocational curriculum, then integrated curriculum. In such type of curriculum, the various subjects do not interfere in learning of each other, rather help. Then spiral curriculum. Here in textbooks, the basic facts of a subjects are learnt without going into details. Then covert curriculum are hidden. In this type of curriculum, those activities are included which are not part of written curriculum, like behavior, cooperation and community feeling, etc. Then overt or written curriculum. The written directions formally given by administrators, curriculum directors and teachers collectively are covered in overt or written or explicit curriculum. Sometimes we call it overt curriculum, other time we call it written or explicit, but it is same. So, by now I have discussed with you the factors which affect the curriculum planning, curriculum construction and curriculum development. Then we spoke about the principles of curriculum construction. Of course, they cannot be very rigid, but we have set some principles. According to them, the curriculum should be constructed, but there should be flexibility in curriculum, because these days the education system has become child centered. Then after the principles of curriculum construction, I spoke to you about various types of curriculum, because curriculum is meant for children and children are not meant for curriculum. So there are various types of curriculum. In one type of curriculum, I talk about the subject centered, then child centered or experience centered or activity centered, but everything has to be planned by the curriculum framers according to the needs and interest and the age level of the students, because we have to see for whom we are planning the curriculum and for whom we are selecting the material and what are the aims to be fulfilled by those particular students. So, I hope these type of principles and factors and principal construction of curriculum will be helpful for the students, because it also covers this topic in various subject at various level of PG and UG classes. So, thank you very much.